You would be surprised about how long a conversation between two strangers could last if they have one common interest. Hi, my name is Sophie Barroga. My friends call me Sophie. I am a theater arts major. I'm currently in my last trimester of my first year. On the internet, people call me Nakano or Nakano, whichever way you want to pronounce it. I'm not picky. One of my favorite ones, honestly, by far. She still holds a very strong implication on me, so I decided to use that name as well, paying homage to that same character. So I've been into wearing costumes and dressing up ever since I was a kid. My mom can vouch for that. She has a lot of pictures of me in Halloween in very pretty dresses and costumes and stuff like that. And I think it evolved into something more when my love for anime and games evolved from there. Us friends, we would go to the con together and we would hang out. Um, I had the idea of cosplaying there because it's been in my mind for a while. I'd never really delivered the thought, but all I had to do was ask my dad, even though there was the risk of them saying no, because it's an expensive hobby and it takes a lot of time and a lot of energy. But they approved, and here we are 5 years later, still very deep into the hobby. So I did go to a lot of them every other convention, but I would prioritize the bigger names such as Cosplay Mania, which is in September, or Cosplay Matsuri, which is in December, and all of those other conventions. As for the what we do, it's usually the same all around, even though we've been doing it 5 years, three to five times a year. I have a friend group. My friend group are weebs such as I, and we usually go to the cons together if they are available. What we do is we usually go up and go to our meetup place, and we pick them up there. We arrive around noon, and then we roam the venue, buy merch, meet other people, and then hang out with the occasional photo shoot for me. We have this unspoken routine, and it's been that way for years. It was spontaneous. It brings a lot of good memories rather than having it all planned out. Aside from that, honestly, meeting my other cosplayer friends and generally meeting other people who are also into that fandom or all into that character that I cosplay, because you would be surprised about how long a conversation between two strangers could last if they have one common interest. So that's actually one of my favorite characters. One of the characters that I'm particularly known for. Her name is Futaba Sakura from the game Persona 5. She's this really petite, orange-haired introvert who's always stuck in her room playing games in the dark. So I relate to her a lot. If you've seen me in my natural habitat, that is what I do. As for how we actually put together the costume, so to give you a little bit of context, her costume is a full bodysuit. She has gloves and then props and then a harness and everything. So it's a very complicated costume. But thanks to my dad, we actually found a seamstress that was relatively near to our previous home. We drive over to the area, we buy fabric, which is really near. So and then we drive to the seamstress, have my measurements taken, and then in 1 to 2 weeks time, the costume is ready. Very detailed and very fit to my size. It's still one of my favorite costumes, and by far it's lasting the longest out of everything else. How long have I been an artist? I've been one for most of my life. I always bought little notebooks that could fit in my uniform pocket so I could doodle. I always drew on paper, then cut them out and then stuck them to my wall like posters. I also drew on a wall at some point, but who hasn't? That's part of childhood, not gonna lie. Before I drew on an iPad with my finger, but eventually downgraded to my phone. But even then, I did not stop. I managed to work even with this tiny screen with only my finger, and people still paid for my drawings even though they came from here. as for the commissions. It's a different scenario for every artist, because every artist has different specialties, has different range of what they can do. Drawing or doing commissions barely adds to my workload because, for one, I only get them once in a while, like once every month or so. And then second, I am a pretty fast worker. Even though my clients don't usually give a set deadline, they say I can work on it for the entire month if you wish. But I have the tendency to work within a week, even less than a week. I even get the very frequent comment, "Why do you work so fast? You don't have to rush." And I never listen. I like this question very much. So to give you a little bit of a background, other than the fact that I do draw and I do cosplay, I also write, I also sing, I also play the bass. I have a lot of hobbies, and they're mostly within the creative industry. Every single time I do something that's different, it's always an experience, it's always a journey, and I enjoy every second of it, but I can't compare one with the other. There's always a limit to what each hobby could do, and sometimes the other hobbies can fill up that gap. So let me elaborate, I guess. So cosplay, I do it is when I want to feel confident, when I want to break out from my comfort zone and be a whole different person that doesn't even exist. Drawing is for when I want to be free, for when I want to pass time, or for when I get this random burst of inspiration that I want to get written down on a piece of paper as soon as possible, or else it will disappear, and that's a very terrible thing for an artist because inspiration and creativity comes once in a while, and you have to take every chance that you can get to make something new. And these two things are very different, and it's no exception to my other hobbies, but there is one thing that they have in common. It is to give me a safe space for me to properly express myself in other ways that I cannot do. I have a hard time socializing, but when I'm in cosplay or when I do art, it's a whole experience, and suddenly I am this different person, and it makes me feel very confident and liberated in a way.